All right, let's talk about a story that's, over 200 years old, but honestly, it feels like it could have come out yesterday. It pretty much invented the rom-com as we know it. You know the formula: a super smart, witty heroine, a moody, rich guy who you're not sure if you love or hate, tons of misunderstandings, and of course, a whole lot of crazy family drama. Yep, we're talking about Pride and Prejudice. So, the whole thing starts with maybe one of the most famous opening lines ever written. Now, you gotta understand, Jane Austen is being totally sarcastic here. She's not just stating some obvious truth. She's rolling her eyes at society and basically telling us, get ready, because this whole story is about the absolutely bonkers business of getting married back in the day. Okay, so who are we dealing with here? Let's meet the Bennett family. They're doing okay, but their situation is, well, it's a little shaky. Here's the deal. They have 5 daughters and no sons. And because of some old, weird laws, when Mr. Bennett dies, their house and all their money goes to the closest male relative. So what's the only way for these 5 girls to have any kind of future? You guessed it. They have to marry someone rich. The pressure is absolutely on. And who's leading this charge? Oh, it's the one and only Mrs. Bennett. The book pretty much calls her a woman with not much going on upstairs, whose entire life's mission is getting her daughters married off. So you can just imagine what happens when she hears that a super rich, super single guy is moving into the fancy house down the road. Her brain just short circuits. It's go time. And there he is, the grand prize, Mr. Charles Bingley. He's young, he's handsome, and he has a fortune. We're talking 4,000 or 5,000 a year, which was a ton of money back then. For Mrs. Bennett, this guy isn't just a neighbor. He's the answer to all her prayers. He's a walking, talking solution to her family's biggest problem. So yeah, the game is officially on. All right, now we get to the part that really kicks the whole story into gear. The big town ball. This is where everyone in the neighborhood gets to meet Mr. Bingley and his crew for the first time. And let's just say, for some people, the night goes great. For others, it is a complete and utter disaster. So Bingley brings his best friend along, and wow, they could not be more different. It's like night and day. On one hand, you have Mr. Bingley, who is the life of the party. He's fun, he's charming, he's dancing with everybody. Then you have his friend, Mr. Darcy. He's even richer than Bingley, believe it or not, but he's just standing in a corner, looking miserable and basically acting like he's too good for everyone there. Yeah, Darcy's first impression is not good. It's terrible, actually. He won't let anyone introduce him to people. He refuses to dance with any of the local girls. He pretty much thinks they're all beneath him. By the end of the night, the entire town has decided he is the proudest, most disagreeable man in the world. He might be rich and good-looking, but wow, what a jerk. And this is where it gets personal. Our hero, Elizabeth Bennet, who is super smart and witty, by the way, she actually overhears Darcy say that she isn't handsome enough to dance with. Ouch. And her reaction is just perfect. She basically says, you know what? I could forgive him for being proud if he hadn't gone and insulted my pride. And right there, that's it. The battle lines are drawn. Her prejudice against this guy is now set in stone. So just when you think Elizabeth's opinion of Darcy can't possibly sink any lower, a new guy shows up. And this guy seems like the total opposite of Darcy. He's charming, he's handsome, and this is where things get really messy. So, say hello to Mr. Wickham. He's a soldier, he's got this easy charm about him, and he and Elizabeth hit it off right away. And then comes the bombshell. Turns out he and Mr. Darcy grew up together. And if you believe Wickham's story, he's got some very good reasons to despise the guy. And boy, does he have a story to tell. He lays it all out for Elizabeth. He says he and Darcy were basically like brothers. Darcy's dad loved him, promised to set him up for life with a good job in the church. But then, as soon as his father died, Darcy, out of pure jealousy and spite, tore up the will, ignored his father's promise, and left Wickham with nothing. Totally broke. That's why he had to join the army. It sounds awful, right? And for Elizabeth, this story is like the final piece of the puzzle. It confirms every single bad thing she already thought about Darcy. He's not just proud, he's cruel. He's a liar. He's just a terrible person. She completely buys Wickham's story, no questions asked. And her prejudice against Darcy just gets deeper and deeper. But, the book isn't called First Impressions Are Always Right. It's called Pride and Prejudice for a reason. And Elizabeth is about to learn a very hard lesson about how wrong you can be when you let your prejudice do the thinking for you. Her entire world is about to get flipped on its head. So how does it all come out? Well, in the most dramatic way possible, of course. Darcy proposes to Elizabeth, and it's a terrible, insulting proposal, by the way. She furiously rejects him and throws the whole Wickham story in his face. And Darcy, well, he writes her a letter that explains everything. And the truth is shocking. Wickham wasn't cheated. He got his money, blew it all, and then, get this, he tried to run off with Darcy's 15-year-old sister to get his hands on her inheritance. Turns out, Wickham is the real villain. And this is the moment the whole story hinges on. As Elizabeth reads his letter, it all just clicks into place. She realizes how completely and utterly she's messed up. How despicably I have acted, she thought. She thought she was so smart, so good at judging people. But she was totally blind. Her pride was hurt by Darcy, and her ego was stroked by Wickham, and she just believed what she wanted to believe. For the first time, she sees herself clearly, and she is horrified. Okay, so where do we go from here? We have a total disaster on our hands. Elizabeth is mortified, she realizes Wickham is a legitimate creep, and Darcy, well, he's still kind of proud, but maybe he's not the monster she thought he was. How on earth do you get it happily ever after from this complete train wreck? Well, the ending is a total whirlwind. First, total scandal. Elizabeth's youngest sister, Lydia, actually runs off with that snake, Mr. Wickham, which could ruin the entire family forever. But then, who comes to the rescue? Mr. Darcy. In secret, he finds them, pays off all of Wickham's huge debts, and basically forces him to marry Lydia to save the family's reputation. This one act shows Elizabeth who he really is. After that, Bingley comes back for Jane, and finally, with all the misunderstandings cleared up, Elizabeth and Darcy can admit they're in love. And there you have it. The marriage game ends with two happy couples. Jane gets to marry the sweet Mr. Bingley, which we all wanted from the beginning, and Elizabeth marries Darcy. They started out as total enemies, but they both had to grow and change and overcome their own issues to find each other. Their relationship is built on something real, which kind of leaves you with a big question, right? Is this story really about finding the perfect partner, or is it more about becoming the right partner yourself? And I think that's why Pride and Prejudice is still so popular. It's not just a romance. It's about how the real path to happiness isn't about finding someone flawless, but about dealing with your own flaws, your own pride, and your own prejudice first.